we've moved to that, and we've also just moved to, well, we're working on moving to, when we were talking about a website, it said 2008. I made a joke earlier that emails is so 2008 or 2005. But we've actually created a private Twitter group just for some of us in the digital space here, because we just don't have time to update each other on what we're working on anymore, and so we're using that sort of as a relay system for knowing, when new pages are going live or when somebody's getting pulled into this meeting or that meeting, and so it's been really interesting to watch that then start with us, but now it's already beginning, and it's really going to start to move out into the rest of the medium, where immediacy, what's the fastest way I can get my message out, and then move back. I think back to a day, 2003 or 2004, when I had a reporter tell me that he didn't like his story going up on the website today if it was going to be in the paper tomorrow, because he would get scooped by TV that night, and trying to explain to this reporter that, no, you didn't get scooped, you broke the story, it was on the side. It's just been really exciting to see how far we've come, since then, to a point where now I broke the story if I got a 140-character message out on Twitter before it ended up anywhere else. But anyway.
And what we need to do is collect all these success stories and reinforce with them that it works for you, and that's what we have to convince the reporters. But again, in this transition, Michael Manus used a term that cultural change is a lagging indicator. You need to do this to keep your job. Now, whether you buy in or not, we'll work on that. But we have really got to change, and people are realizing that now.
So that's interesting. About innovation as a cultural factor, it seems like that's really been inherent, really from Gannett on down here. What we're seeing, that you've really started to, that's becoming adopted by the reporters and through everybody that we've talked to here, and even all the way at Gannett, it's really led the way. What can you tell us about the cultural factors that you're seeing here at the Enquirer, or even that you're getting reinforced from Gannett too?
Well, I think from the day that Craig took over, the change started. So we're in the middle of it.
Yeah, again, for us, it's really just about, everything starts with engaging with your audience and understanding who your audience is and working from there. So I think, you've heard folks here talk about thinking about telling stories in different ways, and you may take the same story that's happening out in the community and just tell it a different way based on the different platforms that you have available to you, and it's thinking about that next best way to get that story out. And so maybe Twitter gives you one format to go, right? Very short form, very quick hit. Print is the opposite end of that extreme. There's still value in telling a story through print. You can do it in a much more in-depth way. You can do a lot of different interesting things with that. And then along that spectrum, you've got mobile, you've got your website, and the website can be broken down into Cincinnati.com or more narrowly targeted blogs. So you've got all these great different ways to tell your story to your users and to connect with your users. And if you can do that, everything else will flow. It really will. It's just about understanding who you're trying to reach and what you're trying to tell to them.
Do you have a sense of if there's a clear demographic breakdown as far as who consumes which media, from Twitter all the way down to the print media?
I think, obviously things like Twitter and mobile are going to skew younger, and print is going to skew older. And that makes it interesting, too, because there's this bias to think about the audiences for places like the Enquirer as skewing older because people think of the print side of things. But really that's not necessarily the case, because you do have so many more interesting formats and interesting ways to get your story out. So we're trying to use other platforms to reach different audiences. We're also branching into other products beyond just news to reach those audiences as well. So Cincinnati has Metromix, which is a nightlife product, so they reach a very different demographic in a different way. Through Metromix, we've got our mom's product.
Well, I was just going to say, if you start breaking it down into these different communities, then you start to create loyalty on a different level. Right?
Absolutely. You can really build very engaged communities. We've got moms. We have in one of our markets, one of our TV stations has a blogger who's focused on emergency services in the region. And he's got this network of, 1,000 people that feed him information, and he's really just focused on this very narrowly targeted area. And so you really can build very passionate communities around that site and reach them in different ways. And that's not just pure news delivery the way it has been traditionally. It's reaching a segment of the audience in a very different way. And we've got that all across the company. So part of the advantage Gannett has is there's 108 locations across the country where we have different TV stations and newspapers. And so those are really 108 different innovation labs for us that really can experiment in different ways. And so you may have, we've got a great Yankees blogger in Westchester. We've got this emergency service somewhere else. We've got all these different ways that we're reaching different target communities.
Have you contemplated, or are you bringing together those folks in the 108 different innovation labs in a way that they can start to share best practices?
Yeah, absolutely. What we're really trying to do, so having 108 innovation labs is great if you can harness it and really build scale out of it. It doesn't work as well if you have 108 different labs all marching in 108 different directions, right? So what we're really trying to do is build on, to really find those success stories and then scale them. But that part is relatively easy. Trying to build 108 innovation labs is hard, and we've already got that. Taking that and using technology to scale those successes, that part is relatively easy. So that's a big focus of what we're doing.